Hello, hustlers. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about something extremely important, and the timing can be any perfect. The topic that I want to cover today is, do I need an LLC? That's the question a lot of people are asking, and we will also be looking at how and some of the benefits of having an LLC. And if it sounds very intimidating, if it sounds uh, difficult, or if it's over your head, please don't sweat. It's a very simple process, but it has a lot of benefits. Probably in total, maybe 5 hours in total. It's less than a day's worth of work, but it will pay you great rewards in the long run. The question in everyone's mind is, do I need an LLC? And the answer is absolutely. There are a lot of different varieties of uh, ways you can set up the corporation, but LLC is one of them. And LLC is by far the easiest, cheapest, and has a lot of flexibility. I wouldn't say cheapest, but definitely it's really flexible. It gets your job done. And more importantly, if you don't have an LLC or if you don't have any kind of corporate setup, any kind of corporation, I think you need to definitely look at LLC owners and most hustlers. That's the topic. That's what we wanted to cover. Will it help the hustlers? Yes, it does, and that's what we're going to see today. Setups like the sole proprietorship and general partnership, it's way better than that. So, how do you create an LLC? There are a couple of ways you can go by. You can hire a professional, which is probably the most recommended, and I would recommend that. However, but they all cost money, and we are hustling. Every dollar counts. You need to save money. If there's a way we can save it, also you can do your own homework and get educated, and that's what I would prefer. And the reason why I'm saying do it yourself is you don't have anything right now. So getting it done by yourself and having an LLC set up is 100 times better than waiting to go to a lawyer or CPA, not having money and postponing and not having an LLC. I don't like it. So I would rather have you start and create. You can always go when you have money, you can hire a lawyer and create something else at some point in time, but you don't need a lawyer. You can create yourself. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Now, what do you need to create an LLC? You need to go to the body that your state's website where you can register, officially register. So that's where you need to go. It's usually a one-page document. Okay, it's pretty simple. It probably takes 15 minutes, maybe half hour. Just your personal information, name of the company, address, and things of that nature. Do it online. Just use your credit card, a debit card, pay it like $100, $200. You will have it created in like half hour. And then once you create, you could use some online services, or you could use a template from somewhere, or you could hire a lawyer to create your operating agreement. If you're a hustler, if you're one member, but if you're by yourself, you're just having side hustle, you want to protect your investment, I think you can create yourself using a template. And you can skip the step, but if you go to a bank, the bank account for your company, your corporation, they 99% they're going to ask this one. So it's always good to have the operating agreement. Fill in the blanks, you'll get going. Okay, let this not stop your side hustle. You do any kind of activity, you need something called as the EIN, which is basically an identification number, but that's for your company, your enterprise identification number. Like your personal identification number, which is your social security number, SSN. EIN is the business social security, so to speak. Okay, again, this is extremely easy. 5 minutes job. Go to irs.gov. This is very straightforward. Go to irs.gov. It's absolutely free to get EIN. Do not pay anyone. There are scammers. You don't have to hire anyone to do. It's extremely simple. There's nothing complicated. Go to EIN, the web page where within irs.gov where you can enter all the information. Pretty straightforward. Name, your address, contact information, name of the company, etc. Once you have that, you need these three. You need to have created the company by registering the LLC, the name of the LLC. the name of the corporation, with your state. Okay, so your state government is where you register the company, and then second thing, you need to go get the EIN from irs.gov. And once you have these two things, you need the additional document. Third thing is the operating agreement that we saw, that you don't have to go anywhere. You just have to download the template, fill in the blanks. You got yourself to get started. Once you have these three, it's you're in business, you're legally in business. Then you start using the EIN, not your social, and start using the name of the company, not your personal name, and do all the transactions. So you got like two advantages, right? Two advantages to separating yourself as a person from the company, from the business, from the side hustle. If an unforeseen event happens, anyone goes after you, cannot go after your personal property. Now they can only go to the corporation, to the company, to the LLC that did the job or that's involved. They can only go and take anything that's in the company. Okay, so you are not personally liable for any kind of damages that the company is a different entity you manage, your member. Okay, so it's going to protect your personally you from anything happen within the company, and protecting the company when something happens to you personally. And the second advantage is with IRS. The first one was with the court system. Second one is with IRS, which is taxes. Obviously, no one likes to pay taxes. Obviously, you cannot avoid it. It's something that you cannot avoid. You have to pay. You can write off a lot of things. What is piercing a corporate veil? Is when even though you have the structure, an LLC, you're out of that structure. If something happens to the company, the judge can poke a hole, come and go after your personal assets. So to avoid this happening, you have to be mindful of a couple of things. One, you cannot commingle finances. I'm telling it again, you cannot commingle finances. Means you need to have separate bank accounts, you need to have separate credit cards, you need to have separate checks, and then um, if you were audited at any time, you should be able to specifically show the expense and how it relates to the business. And those business expenses should have happened with the business bank account, business credit card, business checks, etc., not your personal. So once you start commingling, then they'll say, oh, you know what? It's so you and the company are not two different entities. It's probably the same thing, you know? Then you don't have a choice. So the first and the most important thing is you cannot commingle finances. You have to have documentation for everything to provide clear distinction. You need to do these two or three things first, and you're still not 100% protected. There are a lot of other situations. For example, you go buy a loan, and if there is a personal guarantee, no amount of protection from the LLC is going to help you, because you personally put the guarantee. So they can always, if there is a bankruptcy with the company, they can always come after you because you personally did. And there are so many other reasons, but for majority of the reasons, if you don't have an LLC, I would highly urge you to go and create an LLC as soon as possible, because in this pandemic, everybody is doing some side hustle and making some money. So you need to have the protection. Creating an LLC is one step. There is one more step that you need to do with respect to IRS. When you create an LLC and just get the EIN, yes, you're in business, you have the setup, but you have to identify how the LLC should be classified. If you do nothing, it's called as a disregarded entity. From the point of view of taxes, IRS will think because it's your property, it's your corporation just for the purposes of liability, but you're going to do one tax, which is your personal tax, and they will consider your LLC as a disregarded entity. For the purposes of taxes, They don't think this LLC is a real LLC. Everything passes through to you, and you will file one tax. Now, the other thing is partnership, which is when you have a couple of partnership, and it's the same thing. Everything flows down to the partners, and there's one tax done. So never have these two. You don't need partnership. I mean, there are situations where you need partnership, but um, for the purposes of starting and having a side hustle, you don't need these two things. Never have this. So what you should do, there is one extra step. Tell IRS that treat this as an S corp, or you could also tell them treat this as a C corp. Now, the difference between S corp and C corp is all the big companies that's listed in a stock exchange. I think they all must be a C corp, because you will have more than 250 shareholders, um, because it's listed public company, and they're all C corps. So all your Amazons and Microsoft and Tesla and all these big corporations, they are all C corp. You don't need that. Why? Because C corps are double tax. You're not getting an advantage. So the best kind of classification for most small business operators is called as an S corp. Okay, you just have to tell the IRS to answer the question. You have to file a form. Actually, you'll be filing two forms. One is, hey, treat me as a corporation. The second form is, treat me as an S corporation, S election. It's called as an election. So you have to be you have to elect to be treated an S corp, which means when your accountant file taxes at the end of the year, they will file a tax for the company. The first two, I don't think the first one for sure they're not filing any taxes. I think the second one also, the partnership, there's no tax filed. It all passes through. Uh, with as an S corp, it's treated as an S corp, so which means you'll get all the advantages of an S corp. You can file as if it's an S corp with IRS, and you get all those tax benefits. And the fourth option, C corporation, you don't need this. You could take it, but unless you're taking the company public, I don't think you need a C corporation. So these are the four classifications, and I urge you to go with an S corp because it's not double tax, and also it's treated as corporation. So you get all the tax benefits, and then you're not double taxed. So that's all I have for today. If you are doing anything as a side hustle to make money, any way, shape, or form, I urge you to go start an LLC. It will protect you, and also it gives you tax benefits. So you can write off a lot of things that you cannot write off as an individual. So our mantra is earn, save, invest wisely, and be prosperous. Thanks for watching. And if you like this, please go and like. That will help the YouTube algorithm. Thank you.